In today's episode, what and how can you fine tune things going into your tech week? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this series of videos for Theater 5113 producing the high school play. Now, as usual, we are going to be taking a look at our normal text. We will not be looking specifically at Hey Kids, Let's Put on a Show, although I do suggest that you take a look at chapters 8 and 9 that give you some suggestions on some different shows that you can put on for different grade levels. And if you are interested in writing something original with your students, it gives some ideas on how to do that. But today we are going to turn our attention to the director's vision, and we are going to be taking a look at the rhythm, tempo, and pace of a play, as well as how to troubleshoot some problem areas with your actors. If you're ready, curtain up, let's go. In chapter 19 of the director's vision, we take a look at rhythm, tempo, and pace. The director is going to shape the production in time and space through the rhythm, tempo, and pace. So the director needs a visual sense as well as a hearing sense and musicality. The tempo needs to be like a minimum and maximum speed limit on a highway. You need different speeds as you're going to traverse over different conditions. And pacing is going to be the change of speed from one to another. Let's talk a little bit about rhythm. Rhythm is a series of sounds, the words, the music, the sound effects, and so on, experienced in time by the audience over long and short periods. Different shows are going to have different qualities that lend themselves to different rhythms. So the rhythm of The Importance of Being Earnest is going to feel different than the rhythm of Death of a Salesman. So it's going to vary depending on how the playwright has written everything and how you envision the show. The tempo is the impression of the speed over the course of your performance. Now, different sections of a show are going to have different tempos, so you have to make decisions on how to play those tempos in different parts in the overall shape of the play. You'll know that this part needs to move really quickly, but this part needs to slow down and really have an impact. So you're going to have to develop a sense of feel of where you need to slow down and where you need to speed up back and forth over the course of a show. Pace is going to refer to the shifts in your tempo. It's dynamic, it's changeable. The pace is not the same as the speed of a show. So saying the lines quickly is not the same as picking up the pace. You're trying to shorten the gaps in between the lines, and that's going to make a difference. So it's not about how fast you go, it's about how fast it feels. When you're dealing with things like volume, the humor, the tempo of the show, if it's too repetitive, if it's just the same speed and pace over and over and over again, your audience is going to lose interest. But a well-paced scene can vary the rate of speeches, pauses, gestures, movement. So play around with that. Some parts will be fast, some parts will be slow. You need to find the inherent rhythm inside the play when you're analyzing the play first thing. And that is going to continue to change and evolve over the course of the rehearsals as you see how people are performing. Experiment with variations, and you can throw something in that is unexpected. You can keep things very quiet and then suddenly throw something loud in order to jolt your audience and get a reaction out of them. So look for different ways that you can play with that. Chapter 20 of the director's vision takes a look at troubleshooting different areas and working with actors. These are things that you should definitely be looking for throughout the entire rehearsal process, but especially be paying attention to as you go into the last stages and you are trying to fine-tune the performance. The director is always going to try to diagnose a performance and seek a solution. So look for the best possibility, not just the first one that comes to mind. Some of the problems can include stale rehearsals if there is a lack of growth in performance. So in that case, you would need to make sure that you are setting and communicating specific goals at the beginning and end of rehearsal. Do your actors lack conviction? Are they just going through the motions? Ask yourself if maybe you could be causing the problem. Make sure that you are thoroughly prepared. Think of broad ways to help the actors connect to the play, maybe with guest speakers, improv with the characters, giving them information about the background of the show. Help them see what if to deepen their character. Are the actions blurred? The performer can't commit to the objective or the emotion. Are they acting but not reacting? Are their actions lacking motivation? Work out the scene beat by beat with the actor and step by step and see if that helps solve the problem. Does a character seem emotionless? They're colorless, they're bland. Sometimes the performer's inhibitions may keep them from fully committing to a character. So look for signs of tension in the body or protective poses. Be supportive. Let the actor know that they are free to play. Engage with the cast during warm-up exercises and promise them that you are not going to let them overact. They can afford to push it farther. Do long speeches lack clarity and meaning? Are they the same and vague all throughout? Listen carefully to see if the performer is making distinctions between separate thoughts. Help them find the changes in topic, emphasis, attitude. Help them to read each thing differently, changing the focus, their body position, their rhythm, their pitch. Working on one speech can usually help them with other speeches later on in the show. Is a performer not conveying the significance of a speech? Do they lack intensity and meaning? Listen to see if they are getting the subtext. Is it making sense? The actor may not understand what they're saying, so have them put the speech in their own words and have them articulate the subtext of what they're saying. Is their body language contradicting the meaning of the speech? Is their body giving a different message than their voice is? Watch without listening to see if the actors are communicating with their bodies. Focus on warm-ups to free the actor's body to respond more vividly to what they're saying. Experiment with performing the scene in pantomime. Ask them to dance or exercise while they're talking in order to get their bodies loose while they speak. Are their gestures ineffective or distracting? Are they stiff or wooden? Are they making the same repetitive gesture over and over again and it's weakening the character? Watch the actors and make note of which ones are having difficulty. Start mentioning that in your notes and make them aware of the issue. And when they do something right, make sure that you are reacting positively to that in order to help them improve. A common bit of advice that a lot of directors will give is keep your hands above the waistline and the elbows away from the body in order to make the gestures broader and bigger. Remind them to use their upstage hand when they are gesturing rather than their downstage hand to make them more open to the audience. And in the warm-ups, again, remind the actors to be free in their movements. An actor taking a large role and not filling it up to the fullest that it can be. Are they not living up to that large role? Find ways to help that performer grow into the role. Urge them to raise the stakes higher than those that they would face in their regular life. Remind them that they are being this character and not you being the character. So help them experience this role as a new experience for them. Are performers not connecting with each other on stage? Do they seem distant or emotionally disconnected? Look at the physical expressions of the actors that are working together and find ways for them to touch naturally. As humans do, we do touch each other naturally as we are interacting. Physical contact can be enhanced with better eye contact, significant glances across the stage. Experiment with trust exercises and remind your actors to see and listen to each other authentically. Do your characters look artificial? Are they not relating to their environment? See if they are maybe just a little too aware of the space and the audience. Awaken their imagination to the environment of the scene. Try moving yourself upstage so that they are not trying to play to you in the audience. Help them establish physical contact with the environment using the set and the furniture. Does the production feel overrehearsed? Have you lost momentum? In that case, this is on you as the director to bring new ideas to rehearsals. Try planning new improv exercises, new warm-ups, new characterization ideas. Give them new obstacles, new complications. Focus again on beats and moments within a scene in order to keep everything alive and still growing. Does the cast seem indifferent? Do they not have focus or drive? They're more interested in socializing than actually working on the show. Remember that you set the culture for the rehearsal process, so make sure that you are examining your own habits and make sure that you're not communicating a lack of commitment. Actors need to know that you are going to lead them to excellence. Don't worry too much about making the cast like you. Be ready to get to work. Just remember that you are setting things up for them. So let's talk about a couple of those troubleshooting areas that I definitely have experience with before. And this is not as a director, but really with me as an actor. One of them is that the character seems emotionless. And this is because as a young actor, I was paralyzed with inhibition. I could not commit fully to a character because in middle school and junior high, you're so worried about how you look to other people. And it was because of a director who was very patient on getting me to move and relax and just fully commit to a character that I was able to finally overcome that. Another one was about the long speeches lacking clarity and meaning. The first time I ever had a monologue, it was a 3-page deal that was in a script, and I remember I I could not wrap my mind around how I was supposed to do it. And it took the director working with me beat by beat on finding the different shifts and thoughts and in variations and finding different ways to do that. And so definitely as a director, you've got to be prepared to do that, to take the extra time to say beat by beat, this needs to happen here, this is a shift here, and help your actor find that way in order to make it an actual workable three-dimensional experience between character and audience. And finally, let's take a look at a couple of things that the book talked about. And one of that was the principle of benign neglect. So this basically means that you have to choose your battles as a director. You don't have to fix every single problem that you see in a show. Sometimes those problems will work themselves out, and you have to trust that the actors are going to grow and develop and find a way to smooth things out for themselves. You don't want to micromanage everything, because everything is going to get so bogged down and mechanical, and your characters are not going to grow and develop in that way. So you have to be able to look at a show and say, these are the big problems that I really need to work with. Make a conscious decision whether you stepping in is going to either help the problem or if you're just going to make things work. Sometimes your action can cause more harm than inaction. So you need to be able to step back and look at the problem and say, is this something that I need to fix, or is something that I need to either let go or allow the actors to work out for themselves? And finally, the end of the book talks about success and failure. And this is very important because you need to accept the fact that we are all going to fail. It happens. We are human, and this is how we learn. We cannot quit though. You have to figure out what went wrong. You need to forgive yourself, and you need to take that and move on to your next project. And that happens with success as well. Look at what worked, take it to the next project, but don't give up, because this is a field in which you are constantly going to learn. The directors who have been working for years are still learning new things every single time that they step up to the stage. So just accept that this is something that is going to be an evolving process for any length of time that you are going to agree to be a director. And that's what's exciting and terrifying about it at the same time, is that you're not always going to get it right. And even in your most successful moments, you're still not going to get absolutely everything right. Every once in a while, the stars align and you have a fantastic performance. Just know that you are learning, you are evolving, and things will go well, things will not go well. And that's just life, both in and out of theater. So there you go. I hope you found this helpful. Once again, if you are interested in the text, then they are going to be listed down in the description if you'd like to check them out for yourself. We do have one more video coming up in this series, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. But for now, I will catch you next time. And scene.